Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss the resilience work that has been happening as part of our efforts to transform New Jersey into a trauma-informed and healing-centered state. I'm Christine Norbut Beyer, Commissioner for the New Jersey Department of Children and Families, and it's an honor to welcome you to this webinar. Our goal today is to raise awareness and to update you on the work that's been happening towards the statewide ACEs action plan and more globally, broadly, the Office of Resilience. Some have called it a relaunch, but in the words of the great poet and lyricist, LL Cool J, I'm gonna say, don't call it a comeback because we've been here for years. And honestly, this is work that's been ongoing since 2019. Today is really an opportunity to hit the refresh button so that you can see what's new and hear about the exciting advances being made in building a statewide infrastructure to better address childhood adversity. Before we introduce the team, I just want to provide some brief background for context. My first opportunity to work with ACEs and trauma-informed care began several years ago when I was with Casey Family Programs, working with Wisconsin First Lady Tonette Walker on her statewide initiative, then called Fostering Futures. When I returned to New Jersey in 2018 and was appointed by Governor Murphy to lead the department, I made addressing ACEs one of my top priorities, to ensure that our work in the Garden State was informed by the science behind ACEs and a deeper understanding of how trauma affects families. Since that time, ACEs and resilience have continued to be a major focus of the department's work. As the state's child and family serving agency, we recognize that the issues affecting families most often stem from unresolved trauma and adversity. It is not unusual for families to carry the pain of trauma from generation to generation, manifesting itself in a variety of ways without them even realizing it. That's why it's not enough to focus on treating the effects. We have to get to the root cause. The science of ACEs tells us that a high level of adversity can, but not always, can increase the likelihood for poor outcomes later in life. But it also tells us that adversity doesn't always lead to trauma, and trauma doesn't always lead to negative outcomes, and that the presence of just one caring, competent adult, other than a parent, in a child's life can make a world of difference. We're fortunate to have had the support of a wide range of private and public partners early on. In particular, members of the philanthropic community here in New Jersey, the Burke Foundation, the Nicholson Foundation, and the Terrell Fund helped form the New Jersey ACEs collaboration in conjunction with DCF to launch this work. Together, we hired an executive on loan to lead the newly created Office of Resilience, which was a transformative team and is a transformative team here within DCF, helping us to realize the promise of our 2019 strategic plan. The Office of Resilience, while they are housed here in DCF, also does statewide work. So they are working with other departments across the state and many community organizations. Although coincidentally, but timely, the office was launched right in the first 6 months of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was pretty timely. With the help of the New Jersey ACEs Collaborative, we engaged the Center for Healthcare Strategies to assist with the development of the New Jersey ACEs Action Plan, a blueprint that provided a comprehensive statewide strategy to prevent and reduce childhood trauma and adversity. The plan was informed with input and insight from families, community, members of the legislature, professionals in the healthcare industry, as well as members of the collaborative and many other stakeholders. Through the New Jersey ACEs Collaborative, we also launched a statewide campaign to raise public awareness of adverse childhood experiences and the simple actions that can make a positive impact, highlighting the importance of one caring adult in a child's life to mitigate the effects of ACEs. An interagency state task force was created and mostly comprised of the Office of the First Lady, 9 other state agencies, and offices so that we could begin to systemically address ACEs throughout government. ACEs training to staff and our system partners was offered in order to build capacity across our network of providers and child welfare staff. And in partnership with Stockton University, DCF also hosted the New Jersey People's Gathering last September. The purpose of the conference was to bring community members to the table to help cultivate healing after several years of collective trauma experienced from the COVID-19 pandemic, rising costs of living, racism, gender-based discrimination, and political polarization. The conference, which was the first of its kind, brought together partners, staff, community members, stakeholders, families, friends, all together in a virtual environment for 36 hours. And I don't think there was one person who stayed on for the full 36 hours, but it might have gotten pretty close. And these individuals came together to share their stories, learn, and brainstorm some solutions to help each other heal. The event served as a celebration of community, for community, by community. Last year, when the contract of our first executive on loan expired, we conducted a search for a new director for the Office of Resilience to continue the vital work and grow our connections to the community. Our new executive director, Dr. Rebecca Bryan, came on board last fall, and her transition has been seamless. While she is fairly new to DCF, Rebecca is not new to working with children and families on issues of adversity and resilience, and she's not new to New Jersey. Just to give you a quick glimpse into her background and experience, prior to joining our department, Dr. Bryan worked as a nurse, primary care nurse practitioner, social justice advocate, researcher, and clinical instructor in the public health arena in Camden, New Jersey. At Rutgers Camden School of Nursing, she served as Director of Community Engagement and Professional Development, where she and her colleagues discovered that the risk factors for wound generation and healing overlap many of the same risk factors generated by ACEs. She also founded and directed the Urban Promise Ministries Wellness Center in Camden, where she continued to learn about the science around ACEs research. Already, she has helped to evolve our philosophy and practice by helping us reorient our focus from ACEs alone to positive childhood experiences. And I'll let her talk more about that during her presentation. Before she begins, I want to recognize her and her team, who you'll get to meet, for their work in this area. And special thanks to all of you who joined us today as our partners, helping to realize our vision that every resident of New Jersey be safe, healthy, and connected. And now it's my pleasure to welcome the Office of Resilience Executive Director, Dr. Rebecca Bryan. Rebecca?
Thank you so much, Commissioner. It is a joy to be a part of this organization, and I am so grateful for your vision. So I'm going to share my screen, because what would it be without a few slides? Okay, so again, it is great to be before you this afternoon, and I'm very excited to share with you the vision and mission of the Office of Resilience, as well as some steps that we are taking. So this is our vision, which is that we create opportunities to prevent and empower healing from individual, transgenerational, and community trauma within all New Jersey communities. And our mission, we are seeking to incubate community-developed solutions that are grounded in positive and adverse childhood experiences science, so that we can create a healing-centered ecosystem system in which all New Jersey residents aren't just surviving, but that they are thriving. So we're going through a couple of shifts. The first shift is from ACEs to PACEs, and I must be becoming a state employee because acronyms are becoming my best friend. So just to be clear, ACEs refers to adverse childhood experiences. PACEs refers to positive childhood experiences, and then PACEs combines both positive and adverse childhood experiences. I see PCEs as the other side of the coin. And having taught about ACEs now since 2013, this has been a key piece of the puzzle. For too long, when we've taught about ACEs, it is a heavy emotional load. When you add positive childhood experiences to the conversation, all of a sudden the mood lifts. And not only that, it begins to point towards effective solutions. I felt an affirmation recently in choosing this as our direction when the CDC called for a second round of funding opportunities, and they too are including positive childhood experiences. So I really appreciate that. I hope that you love here our infographic, which was created by our amazing communications team and has been informed by researcher Dr. Christina Bethel, to whom I'm also eternally grateful. And you see here that there are 7 positive childhood experiences that have been measured in our research. You'll see the word feelings a lot in each of these, and that's because positive childhood experiences are something that children have embodied. The research, much like adverse childhood experience research, was asked of adults looking back upon their childhood, so what's called retrospective cohort. But they are, and they're asked to say yes or no to feeling these experiences. I think my stress on the idea that these feelings are embodied, that they are known only by the individual, points to the fact that we cannot look at a person and say, oh, your PCE score must be this. And for me, for those of you who are in this field and curious about this, this is the difference between positive childhood experiences and what has been called protective factors. Protective factors are really important, right? They include things like nurturing and attachment, knowledge about effective parenting based on knowledge of child, youth, and development, parental resilience, and concrete supports for parents, and they are critically important. They are all measurable, and they're also externally observable. I believe that the connection between PCEs and protective factors have to do with the fact, I think protective factors create the space for positive childhood experiences to occur. One more thought: when I consider barriers to PCEs, I think it's really helpful to consider the stress burden on families, as way too many of our families are still just trying to survive at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, that they are concerned with the basics like housing and food access and safety. And I believe it is incumbent upon state and community leadership to reduce family stress burden by addressing social determinant of health inequities so that families have the time and the resources necessary to create space in which these positive childhood experiences can occur. And so all the work that the Office of Resilience does from now on will be addressing both positive as well as adverse childhood experiences. The second shift we're making is from a self-healing community model to a healing-centered engagement model. A healing-centered approach is holistic. It's involving culture, spirituality, civic action, and collective healing. A healing-centered approach views trauma not simply as an individual isolated experience, sorry, lost my spot, but rather highlights the ways in which trauma and healing are experienced collectively. The term healing-centered engagement expands how we think about responses to trauma and offers a more holistic approach to fostering well-being. This is the work of Dr. Sean Ginwright, who is now located teaching and working at Harvard University. And my feeling about this important shift from self-healing to healing-centered, which I see as an evolution based on continued research that continues to be developed, is that it's time to flip the script from focusing on negative experiences in someone's life. So in the world of trauma-informed, that would be ACEs, to focusing on the strengths and the assets inherent in every individual and in every community. It's time to shift our understanding of trauma as being caused by culture that needs to be fixed, to recognizing that the cause is actually deeply rooted in structural racism and systemic poverty, which generates toxically stressful burdens on families. And in releasing culture as a root cause, to instead celebrate the inherent resilience that ethnic history, racial, and other social identities can afford. So I love this graphic here. It comes from Dr. Sean Ginwright's his article, The Future of Healing. And it shows a young man who's saying, I am more than what happened to me. I am not just my trauma. So this is an invitation to make a shift. Instead of asking the traditional thinking, which is when you see a behavior or an outcome that you don't understand, you ask what's wrong with you. Moving through becoming trauma-informed, which is saying, instead of what's wrong with you, what happened to you, because when you understand the trauma, you understand the behavior. And then making that third shift from trauma-informed to healing-centered, which is asking what's right with you, or even resilience-based, which is what got you through it. It's a critical shift, and I invite everyone to make that with me, with us. So, the Office of Resilience Priorities. These are, this is from a document that was created during the first administrative time. And we have added positive childhood experiences to each one of these. So it is our aim to become a trauma-informed and healing-centered state with some type of designation. We want to conduct a positive as well as adverse childhood awarenesses public awareness campaign. What would it be like for all communities to be aware of these positive childhood experiences and then to lean in to whatever is necessary to enable them? We want to maintain community-driven policy and funding priorities, and you'll be hearing about that from our team in a moment. We want to provide, and we have been providing, cross-sector PACES training. In fact, I just trained a bunch of community health workers this morning. And we are promoting trauma-informed healing-centered services and support. So with that, I'm really excited to introduce my team. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my slides here so that you can see their lovely faces. And I would ask them all to turn on their cameras. And I'm going to go a little out of order. I'd like to start first with Supervisor Ken Folks.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ken Folks, and I've been with the Office of Resilience for about 4 years. And some of the things that are important about the Office of Resilience is that we are a community-focused office. We believe that the solution to the problems are not from the state, but from the community. We work with non-traditional partners. We work with faith-based organizations, community groups, businesses, law enforcement, and anybody who's interested in PACES and ACEs. If you have an interest, we have a conversation for you. We believe that there is strength in the community, and that's why the communities are resilient. I've been working with the Microgrant Initiative, which is us partnering with regional ACEs collaboratives to bring money in deeper into the community, where we're looking at community organizations and non-traditional partners and trying to bring them into the fold. We're looking at the people who are doing the grunt work, who are really out in the field, and we're trying to give them needed funding to make things happen in their community. The three agencies that we're working with as the collaboratives are CUMAC in North Jersey, Northwest CAP in Central, and Ascenda in South Jersey. In the first round, we awarded over $1.7 million to 22 recipients, and now we're working on our second round. And we're doing all the grunt work and all the background work to get that money out to the community so that we can do amazing things. One of the projects I'm going to talk about briefly is that we did a project down in Camden County in which we took a group of young men and women and we taught them health skills, nutrition, how to eat properly. We taught them how to develop self-worth. And we also gave them some skills, carpentry skills, where they could go in and find employment and bring money in for their families to help with those kind of poverty issues. And so those are the kind of things we're doing in the community. And that's why I think it's important that the Office of Resilience exists.
Thank you, Ken. I'd like to introduce Timothy Woody. He is our Youth Community Navigator.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timothy Woody, and I'm a Youth Community Navigator. During my time here at the Office of Resilience, I have been able to work with my partners who have a heart for youth and who are looking for new initiatives, new partners, and new ideas to expand and help more youth in their community. Here in the office, we raise awareness in the community about PACEs, positive adverse childhood experiences, to bring awareness of what our youth are facing today, and to work with our local networks to develop community-driven solutions. Our office participates in non-traditional partnerships. This year, we are funding a pilot program for police youth initiatives. We, working with 7 police departments and 1 prosecutor's office in South Jersey to support healthy relationships building between community, youth, and police officers. This initiative also enables us to provide PACEs training to police departments and strengthen the relationships between local DCF offices and police departments. The Office of Resilience brings partners to the state table, community to the state table, to hear the needs of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. And I'm introducing based on seniority. So now I'll introduce Kelly Watson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Watson, and I've been in state government for 10 years, but in the Office of Resilience for 1.5 years. Deciding to come to OOR was a very exciting time for me because being able to learn about resilience and incorporating change is a passion of mine. So I have a background in industrial organizational psychology, and that has shown me that change is very necessary. So putting systems in place and programs in place to help this cause and initiative of our office is vital. During my time in this office, I've assisted with creating a few processes for the microgrant initiative that my colleague Tim was discussing, and helped in planning the People's Gathering. I also revamped our Office of Resilience webpage, so if you have a chance, please go check it out. I hope in our comms department will put in the chat for you guys to see. It's amazing. And currently I'm managing our PACES connection page, so I do all the blog posts that happens on there, in addition to doing some work with the LGBTQIA and the art communities. My overall experience in OOR has been both informative and rewarding because I have had the opportunity to learn so much from my colleagues and from the community. And I'm looking forward to continue our work externally and internally, incorporating resilience, promoting PACEs, and creating spaces for change and building our networks.
Thank you, Kelly. And Sophia.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sophia Johnson. I've been with state government for about 8 years, but I am the newest, well, maybe not the newest now, member of the Office of Resilience. I've been with the office for about 3 months. As a member of the Office of Resilience, I am very excited to assist my colleagues in a number of projects that we're working on. Since joining the amazing team in April, I've supported efforts to reinforce positive relationships within the community, and I have had the pleasure of meeting with wonderful community providers, including local police, places of worship, and schools. Our work in the Office of Resilience is community-centered, as our supervisor said, youth-focused, and is guided by principles of resilience, all of which are essential to engaging and connecting with the community. It is a great feeling to know that I am a part of something so huge and that is so impactful. Something that is worth fighting for, because our communities are worth fighting for. My goal as a member of the Office of Community is to continue efforts to reach youth, reach families through compassion, understanding, advocacy, and resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. And then drum roll, our new assistant director, who actually begins on Monday. We're thrilled to have Idalmas Lamort joining our team. So Idalmas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Idalmas Lamort. I will be the newest member of the OOR team, and I am very excited to be part of this team. I think just hearing a bit about all of the work that's going on, you can imagine why I was excited and driven to be part of this team. I have worked for DCF for working on 23 plus years now, and I really had a wealth of knowledge and experience, but spent really the last, I would say, 12 years within the Office of Quality, really making connections to data and outcomes, really utilizing provider, youth, family voice experience in building improvement plans that really focus on strengths of what's working well in a particular area, but also identifying what the areas for improvement are. So I'd say my biggest passion is incorporating that lived experience, right? Because you need to understand what's going on in the community, what's going on in an individual's life, what their lived experience is, in order to best support. And so I'm really excited to be able to continue to do that work and work with the community and just continue to build resilience. So thank you for having me today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to share just briefly my screen again. So next steps, we are going to launch a positive childhood experiences awareness campaign. And we would love to hear ways that you foresee how that could be effective. And we're going to certainly invite you to connect with us as much as you can. We are also going to explore, and this is going to be Idalmas's big charge, is creating a Healing New Jersey Together Technical Assistance Center. We want to be a resource to all organizations and community members for all the ways in which you can be trauma informed, the ways that you can engage in healing centered practices, and also just to promote resilience throughout the state. And we are going to begin convening New Jersey PACES task force meetings throughout the state. So look for us soon in a neighborhood near you. In fact, if you know a place where it would be great to meet with a bunch of people, you can send your ideas to us. And finally, we want you. We want to hear from you. There are ways that you can connect with us. Again, looking up our New Jersey Office of Resilience website, there are ways to connect there. We're also part of the pacesconnection.com community. We have a specific page that's called the New Jersey Resiliency Coalition. You can join that for free. You can add blogs to it. You can engage with what's being posted there. We're trying to post everything that we come across that we want to promote there. And we would love to see that online community grow. So again, I'm going to stop sharing my slides. And this would be a great time for any questions that anyone may have. I'm just looking under, we have a, on this Zoom webinar, there is a link down below that's for questions and answers. So I see a good shout out from Laura Mickley, so thank you. I do see someone had asked for a copy of the infographic, and so I think that was answered, but that is actually available on our website. So, Christine, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm thinking there's no questions because you all very, very thoroughly explained the incredible work that's happening in the office. And I just want to thank you, all of the staff, for all of the work that you've been doing over the last 4 years. Really some very significant pieces of work that I think is already changing communities. And now kind of with a new focus and some new energy, we'll be pushing even further. So actually now I'm seeing a couple questions, or at least one. So that is someone asking to join the coalition. Is there a specific time or place to meet?
So my recommendation would be to go on to PACES Connection. It's literally PACES, pacesconnection.com, and look up the New Jersey Resiliency Coalition page and join that. We will be making announcements when there's a PACES task force meeting. And we will also be promoting that on different social media engines. So we will try to make that as obvious as possible. But if you join PACES Connection, that'll be a great place to keep tabs on what we're up to.
Thank you. And then a nice shout out from Mark Dinglassen. So Mark, we look forward to working with you too.
Yes.
All right, well, great. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you out in the community real soon.